Thanks, Mayor. Give us back. I found this on the floor.
It's your 2 cents worth.
It's your 2 cents.
11 cents. Is that a dime? I ain't clean my glasses. Thank you, Kathy.
So we don't have citizens' comments at the beginning.
Tree. Yeah. Apparently last night she chased up. She didn't come in all night, so I was up all night looking for her. I got out of
Those are the mics right above your head, so if they're in this
So I have to come and talk to the Star Council.
Well, I didn't go up because I don't carry the ladder. I used to carry those ladders. So I stood out there and I called her and I called her. She yelled and yelled and yelled. Finally I said, I'm sorry, somebody comes along or Aaron comes home, there's this thing. And about
That's just John. That's just a evening, right? That's not on YouTube.
correct. We have to, I'll put it in Steve's computer and put it up on the website.
But she came in and she ate the whole thing of and then her bride. And,
But I should have done that. What's the cat down there? Come down.
They're not even giving anything free. I know, that's good.
Alternatives on the location for voting. Yeah. All right, I'll call the September 9th meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Selectman Huebner is in Pittsburgh, and he's on the phone. And
Participate.
is there a second?
Second.
Moving second to vote to allow Mr. Huebner to participate in the meeting. And it's a roll call, right?
Everything will be a roll call.
Right. Steve?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes. Welcome aboard, Will.
Oops, coming to my hearing aid. I can hear him. Let me change this again. Wants to default to either my watch or my hearing aid. Can you speak again, Will?
Aye.
Okay. You can-
Aye, okay.
All right, we don't have citizens' comments on the beginning of the meeting. Remember, previous meeting, we had allowed citizens' comments in the beginning, and I set ground rules for 3 minutes for the maximum time for the comments. And we'll open it up again for citizens' comments now. And I will advise anyone who is speaking that when they have 30 seconds left.
I think it would be best if they stood under the mics up here in the
So they have
front.
to come forward. You have anybody?
I'm just gonna, I think I'm loud enough. I would just like to ask, when is the letter coming out to all the taxpayers about the increase in our taxes? I believe Steve had mentioned it'd be in September, but then we have a vote come tomorrow. So maybe, it should come before the vote, so we know what we're expecting in order to vote for more taxpayer money to go out. So I was just wondering when it was gonna happen.
It's gonna be, well, it's gonna be the end of the month, most likely.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of the expected already tax increase?
My initial numbers, and I don't know the school revenue changes, based on our assessment and based on the warrants, not on any changes, the school may have more revenue from somewhere else, is that it will be over a 30% increase on the school side, a slight decrease on the town side. And because it's the second billing, that will hit double, as it were, because it's over, all of it hits in the December bill as opposed to being split evenly with the spring bill. The spring bill is based on last year's rate. So it looks like around $3.50 increase on the school side. But again, I emailed the numbers, I haven't had the school get back to me, but based on the warrants, that's what it looks like to me.
$2.50 per thousand.
$3.50.
$3.50.
All right, any other citizens' comments?
Matt Burke, 147 Middle Road. I asked you all last week what we know about this dumpster truck, and really nobody but Cindy had an answer, partial answer. So I'm gonna ask you again this week. Where's our dumpster truck at?
As far as I know, it has been repaired, and now it's they're gonna have to pick it up.
Okay, and who signed the repair order? You don't know?
I don't know, no.
Well, the document I have shows that the DPW worker who dropped it off signed for an inspection.
Inspection, I understand that, but not to have all the work completed.
That's what was presented from Alliance, I guess it used to be Liberty.
Allegiance.
Matt,
Yeah,
what's the name of the
Allegiance.
paper, Matt? What's the name of the paper?
Kimball.
But, I mean, he was just doing what was told, take the truck for inspection, and
And
that's what he
who
did.
told him that?
I assume he was sent there by the DPW director to go and get it inspected.
Okay, DPW takes care of the transfer station?
I believe it was they had a truck to pick up or a truck to drop off, so they were going back and forth. No, that's not under the DPW's. The highway department is not, in this town, responsible for the transfer station.
Okay, but we have the DPW giving orders on what the transfer station's gonna do. So I don't see that as a signed, if that went in for inspection, they should have done an inspection, given you an estimate of the costs,
That's what I
and
have.
somebody would have to sign off on it.
That's the documents we have. That's the work that was done.
I would like a copy of this.
I can make you a copy.
Okay,
I will make you a
so,
copy.
I see no signature here.
I see no signature there either.
Right. So, as far as I'm concerned, they didn't get
I'm gonna go make a copy.
assigned to do those repairs,
30 seconds.
and we shouldn't be paying them.
Anybody else?
Tom Dillon, Haynes Road. So if the DPW supervisor signed off on that, I believe the town policy is anything over $10,000, a department head has to bring it to the select board. When to come to the select board?
It didn't come to the board.
Okay,
And similarly, when the grader was repaired, the cost on that didn't come to the board.
okay, so there's a problem there.
And I guess we haven't established a policy with regard to the repair of town vehicles. And that's,
Well, you have a policy with respect to expenditures. and-
Right.
And that was clearly violated, so I would hope that you would get to the bottom of that. You know, we need to know what's going on.
Well, the vehicle has been repaired, and it's ready to go, apparently.
Did we pay for it?
That's what we're gonna be talking about tonight. But certainly if we don't pay for it, then somebody's gonna sue us. You can count on that.
Well, I think we should be suing them first. They didn't have authorization to do the repairs, nowhere
Your
I
time
see.
was up.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm new to all of this. Now, from what I'm hearing, who owns this truck?
The town.
The town owns it.
Okay, could you come over here and identify yourself and?
Beverly Dunn?
Okay.
So the town owns this truck that you're speaking of. You okayed a bunch of repairs on it that we collectively are paying for. I own my car. You want to pay for my repairs? Why are you spending our tax dollars without our permission on things that, you know, where does this come up that you guys say, okay, yep, we're gonna okay this much money to fix this truck, but we're not gonna tell anybody? And apparently, watching this communication, you guys don't know anything, because you keep saying, well, I think, oh, well, I think this one or that one. We need answers. This is our tax, you're sitting here raising our taxes, but not answering our questions. Nobody has anything to say again?
So it operates.
Seriously? So bill me for a higher tax bill again, but don't tell me where my money's going. I like that.
Fred, could you just, you have a policy, and the policy says anything over 1,500 must be brought to the selectmen to be okayed,
No, it's,
and anything over 10,000 must go out to bid. I went through the policy book. I told you it needed updating.
Well, certainly, when vehicles have to be repaired, it's, particularly even during the winter, when they have a snowstorm, does that mean we have to wait 2 weeks to have a truck repaired if it's, if it requires repairs over $1,500?
You have the right of an emergency meeting under law,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's only a telephone meeting.
Can't have a telephone.
Can't have the telephone meeting.
No, you can't.
Hey, yield me your time.
Don, did you want to say something?
Yep, please. Make sure everyone gives their name for the sake of Randy's doing the minutes, so she can hear clearly.
More or less in the middle, Don.
Yes, somewhere in the middle, because we're also got a small tape recorder as well.
Okay, Don Wyman, Nottingham Road. Speaking on the same issue, there's RSAs against one single member stepping out in a board to represent that board. It seems that that has been done, whether it be the road agent working under the person that spoke up or not, that was done. So that's a clear violation of an RSA. And I do believe Cindy quoted that RSA last week. It would be removal. The second thing I have here is the repair of the truck is $30,038. Don't worry about your change.
Right.
The money's coming out of the ARPA fund. The ARPA fund is not designed to repair a truck. The ARPA fund is to help from what COVID did by slowing everything down. Road maintenance, housing, shelter, food. Clearly not for truck repair. So we're taking $30,000 out of the ARPA fund, which would help maintain our roads, would help get people and hopefully keep people from becoming homeless in town. So, again, some of the other people are asking, I need to know answers. You know, our taxes do go up, and I don't want to see ARPA money wasted on the truck. We're now at $30,000 for repair of the truck. We paid $40,000 some odd for the truck. Why did we exceed half the amount of the value of the truck to repair it? Other places that I work, you take the value of the thing, whether it's $300, $400, $500, you do not exceed half of the amount. At that point in time, you replace the item, don't fix it. Because now you're throwing good money after bad. $30,000 is astronomical for a $40,000 truck.
Any other citizens' comments? All right, hearing none, I'll close the citizens' comments and opening a revaluation proposal.
We had 2 come in a timely fashion, and none came in late.
He made it.
It's usually sessions in one
The first proposal is from Sansucci Associates. Reads, we propose a fixed annual cost of $19,500 per year for 5 years. This price includes the 2025 reevaluation report to the DRA,
How much, right, 19?
$19,500 per year.
5 years. It's good for
5
5
years,
years.
yeah, right.
Here's the other one. I was just looking for the number for you, but there's the documents.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Fred, who was that?
Sansucci.
Sansucci
Up in
Associates.
Littleton, New Hampshire. They do a lot of...
I know him.
Yeah. I knew Skip. He used to live in the next road over.
Yeah, I know him as well.
I assume it's, I was starting to find it in that second document.
Wave your arms.
Stand up and walk.
We weren't
that way
moving
with
enough.
that.
Yeah, spend some ARPA money on the electric bill there.
See, I told you, stand up and
Harriet, you gotta keep moving so we can...
This board always knows the people who are hidden.
Why is it on the timer now?
Yeah. And this is from Avatar Associates for a total of $91,860. So divide that by 5, John.
Divided by 5, it's gonna be less than the other proposal. Because 100,000 divided by 5 would be 20.
Yeah. So we're close though.
Now, they're close. And if you want to have me look them over and come back with a recommendation next meeting?
Yeah, that would, I think that would work out well. Is it agreeable with the board?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I want to make sure they're bidding on the same
Right.
scope of work.
That one.
Would those be in the office so that I can come in and read them?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll put them on Peter's table because I won't be working on them tomorrow.
I'm not sure it'll be tomorrow, but I will be in this week.
Yeah, that way they're, rather than put them in my
18,372.
office, I'll put them in Peter's office so you can look at them. The public is welcome to look at these.
Dick did the calculation in his head, I could say, or no?
Not quite.
Not quite. And he came up with that 91,860 divided by 5 is 18,372. So they are certainly the apparent low bidder.
Yes.
Okay. All right, age-friendly Deerfield, working group and survey and update. Jack Hutchinson.
And Rebecca,
And Rebecca. Sorry, Rebecca.
leader of the survey. You want me to say anything before I start?
Just, you've already got your name on the record, so.
Okay. So first, I just wanted to share what's going on with us, because we've got a lot of people that have been very busy and there's a lot of projects underway. One of them is bringing a ride service to Deerfield. We've had 9 people volunteer to be drivers. I think 5 of them are driving now. We're driving people from Northwood and Nottingham to appointments in Concord, Manchester, wherever they go. The ride service that we are working to affiliate with operates out of Northwood, but it serves 10 towns in Belknap and Stratford County. Yeah, Stratford counties. Mostly, I guess all Stratford County probably. No, there could be some in Belknap. Anyways, 10 towns north and east of us. At this point, we have a tentative plan to begin doing the service in Deerfield October 1st. I hope that comes together. It is sort of dependent on getting handicapped running, which is a big challenge where we are. The next thing we have going on is Senior Cafe. Kathy Hansen is leading a group that is starting a Senior Cafe. The first The first event is on the 16th. It's going to be on Mondays from 10 to 11:30 in the Parks and Rec section. We're getting great support from Erin Morrill of Parks and Rec. She came to us saying we'd like to be doing more stuff for seniors, so we're doing this together with Parks and Rec, and we got a $1,200 anonymous donation to support it for a year, to pay for all the materials for it. So it's going to just be a chance for people to get together and just meet. It's based on programs like this that Kathy visited in Northwood and Nottingham. They both have ongoing cafe on a similar model. Rebecca's going to talk about the survey in a minute and share it with you. We brought that just so that this is going to go out right away. It's really finished. So we just wanted to make sure you know about the survey and what's in it before somebody says, oh, and what's that survey that's going on? So it will be among the things you're aware of. Two of our members went to training in A Matter of Balance, which is this really wonderful program. They are now certified coaches in it, and we can offer it in Deerfield. It's a program that runs for 8 weeks, 2 hours a session, and makes a big difference for seniors who have started to isolate themselves out of fear of falling. When people have one fall or even hear about somebody having a fall, start to feel unsteady, they often, as we get older, they often stop going out as much, stop walking, stop exercising, and they deteriorate, both from the isolation and the lack of activity. And this program is meant to address both of those. We will work to follow up that with a regular activity session, exercise session, that's mostly seated kind of exercises for the more frail elderly who would not possibly be able to participate in senior fitness, which is pretty vigorous. I know, I go. It's pretty vigorous. Judy Bush is working on what they have called a road-by-road initiative on Mount Delight, trying to develop models for how we can connect isolated seniors to others in their community, in their neighborhood, on their road for check-ins and just more neighborliness, how to sort of knit the community together as much as we can with the amount of change we have and the air conditioners and televisions in big houses that tend to separate us from one another. Andy Hodling is working on the elderly tax exemption and the elderly tax deferral with a great group, and we hope to bring you a draft warrant article next month that then you can take. We might continue to advise on it. It will not only be a proposed numbers for income, assets, and how much you relieve on your assessment, but also the reason for those numbers, and also a protocol for how to apply for it. That's kind of more formal for both of those things. For the elderly deferral, there's just a protocol because that's established by law, and the assessors can allow it based on need. That money all comes back to the town, when the house is sold. We've set up information displays in the library and the town clerk's office. In fundraising, we've raised $3,200. Actually $4,200 so far from donations, and $1,000 from Focus, $1,000 from Lisa and Patrick Brochu, $1,000 from Verani Cares, and then anonymous $1,200. The Loaner's Closet at Dairy Community Caregivers has an inventory of 21,000 medical hardware items like wheelchairs and walkers and canes and shower chairs, all kinds of stuff, as well as consumable kind of stuff like adult diapers, and just an amazing amount of stuff, which we are just welcome to use, and we have started using it. We've started bringing it here as people need that stuff. It's free, you don't even have to return it, and they have a $20,000 machine that will clean a wheelchair in 15 minutes. So stuff is sterilized, and it's a big advantage. We were originally thinking we should set one of these up in Deerfield. It used to run out of the American Legion. They don't do it anymore. We don't need to. It's much better to use theirs. They have such a big inventory, so we're working with them. And I want to let's just jump to
What's the name of it again?
Oh, it's Loaner's Closet at Dairy Community Caregivers.
We have brochures
I'm
and
sorry, Lonas Club?
loaners, L-O-A,
Okay.
loaners club. We have brochures and all, so if you get in touch.
Thank you.
We also have an exchange on the town phone number now that sends an email to me when anybody calls, and we obviously have a town of Deerfield email address. So all of our correspondence, for the most part, is through that. And now the survey.
Rebecca Hutchinson, 30 Lang Road in Deerfield. And I just said I'll help with this piece of this initiative. Just to set up real quickly, there's really sort of 4 reasons why we're doing a town-wide survey. One is to identify the kinds of challenges that we have or that we anticipate having, those of us who want to be able to remain at home and remain in Deerfield as long as possible. So one is identifying priorities, and then the second is to collect data about Deerfield so that if this group is writing grants in the future, we'll have information about Deerfield that you can share, which is pretty critical when you're trying to write grants. A third and a fourth is just to spread the word to everybody about the age-friendly initiative. And finally, it asks some questions that might help us uncover more volunteers to help with various projects like Jack was talking about. So it's taken about 6 weeks for 3 of us to work on this survey. Deb Horton, Beth Romanowski, and myself. We've reviewed a ton of other surveys for similar kinds of information. We've tested it with the committee members, both the paper version and the e-version, which is a good segue to the fact that this survey we are asking everybody in town to take it, whether you are old, like us, over 65, or if you're youngins, we want your opinions also. So I really want to emphasize that to everybody, that we're going to ask everybody to take it. You might guess that those people who are young have a few fewer questions than those of us who might actually need these services. So all ages, there's going to be 2 ways to take it. One will be electronically. Somebody I know, happen to live with, knows how to work with QR codes really well, so you're going to be able to, shoot your phone at the QR code and go directly to the survey. Or we're going to have paper copies, and I'm going to give you guys a paper copy when I'm done. But so there will be a way for everybody to do it easily by paper or by link or QR code. We are going to visit, we're meeting tomorrow, I think it is, or Wednesday, to talk about how to do outreach and try to get a lot of responses. We already know people don't like surveys, but this is different because it's about our own community. No one's going to ask, who you're voting for in November. This is about elder care. So I hope people will have a vested interest in answering. And 2 more quick things. It should take about 5 or 10 minutes to take, 5, 10, 8 minutes, something like that. And the really cool thing is that everybody who completes it will be invited to join a drawing for a $100 Hannaford gift card, which was donated anonymously by a generous individual. So if you complete it, there will be a way for you to give us your email and add a phone number, and you might win $100. I think that's all I have. Very shortly, we will be reaching out. We'll be going to every place we can, senior fitness, senior luncheon, women's club if they'll have us, whatever. And we are really going to try to encourage people to finish it right then and there, as opposed to say, I'll take it home and finish it, because we know what happens when you take stuff home. So we are going to really try to urge people to please do it as we present it. And again, we're meeting on Wednesday about all the ways to outreach. So I have paper copies of it. Again, I would love if you just hang on, because if you have the opportunity to do it electronically, that's a lot better for us, but I did want you to have it. And there will be, in the next Gazette, there will be, I believe, or the plan is that there will be a QR code on the Gazette, so you could shoot your phone at it there and take it right then and there.
I realize I dropped a couple of things. One is John Mike is brand new here,
Just how to use
but he
QR
is
code.
immediately helpful to us. Thank you. Pete LeMay is regularly wonderful, and Randy is helpful. I mentioned earlier the great support we get from Aaron. The other thing I wanted to mention is there's one new initiative that I didn't have on my list, which has just started, which I've told you before that we're part of the Habitat for Humanity and therefore Community Toolbox, and we can do repairs in town. We're looking hard for the first one in Deerfield, but those are based on the homeowner being between 30 and 60% of the median family income for this region. There are individuals with considerable skills and big Rolodexes who are eager to build a similar function out of age-friendly Deerfield to serve urgent needs or needs that fall outside of the qualifications for the community toolbox. So the way we're approaching that is to make it exactly the way community toolbox works without the income requirements. And this would be things like somebody comes home after a fall and needs a wheelchair ramp. And it's not something they can just afford to buy and have installed an aluminum ramp or pay somebody to do it. And there are many people for whom that would be true. Or things at their house are failing, whatever, stairs, outside stairs, floors, they need a grab rail. It can be all kinds of things. As people get older, it can be hard to change a light bulb. But the way I want to approach this, and we'll be back with more information on it, is I've asked Habitat Community Toolbox, in fact I got them today, all the documentation for how they work, the releases they use with the homeowners, the way people qualify, the releases of the people who work on stuff, and then we would pull building permits for everything that required them, and we would use licensed individuals for plumbing and electrical. It would just operate as a professionally run sort of service to support people without creating liability, you know. So anyway, that's in the works with some muscle behind it, which are people new to our project who are just interested in supporting this. That's it.
So I just want to emphasize, Harriet just said, you're going to have to teach me how to use a QR code. But everybody understand there are paper copies too, so do not be intimidated.
And it's a big deal to have people fill out those surveys, because a big part of the credibility of your survey is that a whole lot of people responded to it. That really helps us, because we will be going for grants, and that kind of data that shows a community commitment, which we have now with like more than 50 people involved in working on projects in age-friendly, that really helps us have credibility. We have moved through more projects in Deerfield by far than anybody we've talked to more quickly. Like, just because people are stepping up, offering to do people, brand new people come in and for the next challenge, so we're good.
So would the survey be mailed out?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
You know, we would sort of like to avoid that because so many don't get returned. If we think we can get a lot by not doing that, we might, but we may end up doing that. So I don't know the definite answer.
There's a
yet.
QR code and an announcement in the Doriar Gazette that's coming out soon.
Oh, okay.
So you can just use that to get to the survey.
But
It will also be on the internet, it will also be in our minutes, it will also be wherever we can put it. We'll go around to groups, but
you know, so we're really not sure if we'll have to do that or not yet.
So would we be posting it on the town website?
We could.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, we'll get it to Steve and he can put it up there on your page, or we could even put a banner
oh yeah.
that
Yeah.
would refer to your page.
I should have said that too. Steve has been perfect. Everything, anything I ask about, it's just done.
Good to know.
Great support from the community.
You're able to put a banner up there, and you could just have in the banner, please take survey, and then have it on your
Yeah,
page. and
that'd be great.
Go there. The other thing I was gonna mention, DRA has a list of every town in the state and what their exemption levels are for elderly, including
Right.
income, assets, and the limits,
Right.
as far as that goes. So, it's easy to find that page.
You'll be impressed with how much stuff Andy has dug out. You'll be impressed.
Yep.
It's very, very comprehensive. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good work.
All right, we move into funding with regard to the roll-off truck. Final bill of $38.31. And whether that would end up coming out of ARPA or whether it would be coming out of one of the department budgets, I guess.
I would just tell you that you don't have the money in your department budgets,
Mm-hmm.
and you do have money in ARPA still.
Yep.
So I would recommend you take it out of ARPA, that you accept and expend $30,038.31 from ARPA. They did initially have fairly strict requirements, as mentioned by someone who spoke earlier, but they loosened those up a lot
Significantly, yes.
significantly, as far as what you can spend it for.
Right. So what action the board wants to take on this?
I'm kind of concerned, how much ARPA money do we have left?
You have a little over 50,000.
That's without the paying the truck?
Correct.
So we had the room filled downstairs, wanted that money spent on roads. How much of ARPA money have we spent to fix some roads? No?
I don't have the number with me. I can go in my office and get it for you really quickly.
And,
As I
no, it's
recall,
okay, John.
it wasn't all, there were quite a few other recommendations. One was an elevator in the town hall.
Right?
Remember that?
Well, the furnaces are being done this week. That's why we can't meet downstairs.
Right.
That's 60,000.
But the
And that-
biggest
that
vote
came out
was
of-
for roads.
That came out of ARPA as well, right?
Yes, that's
Did
ARPA.
anybody suggest a roll-off truck?
And I don't wanna pay this bill until we find out who authorized this. They didn't do their paperwork correctly, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'd like to interject if I can, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Will.
Okay, thank you. I also am opposed to paying this bill until we do an investigation of how it got authorized. I don't think we should spend the taxpayer dollars without knowing how this happened and whether we should be paying this bill. I don't mean to imply that we're going to cheat the vendor who's done the work, but I do think that we need a full investigation. And I would ask the chairman, Fred, to, under his leadership and under his discretion, to have an investigation done. Whether he wants to involve other of the selectmen in that investigation or not would be at his discretion. But I would like to make a motion that we agree as a board to conduct an investigation and bring an answer back to the public session as to exactly how this happened and why it wasn't done according to the procedures that we have and the policies that we have in place. It does appear to me that there has been a breach of the procedures, and we owe it to the people to investigate that and report properly to them. So I'll make a motion that we conduct a investigation under the leadership of the chairman of this board and report back to the people.
Is there a second? Seconded by Dick.
Just so you're aware, the bill has been paid.
Okay. The bill has been paid, and it's just a matter of where it's going to be coming from.
Yes,
Okay,
but the investigation is a good idea.
yep. All right, any further discussion on conducting an investigation into the authorization to expend the money to repair the roll-off truck?
I just have something else to say. I know we talked about the highway vehicles going in, getting fixed. Those vehicles that we already own have their own line item repair. This vehicle didn't have anything. We purchased it under ARPA. It didn't have a line for repair, so this shouldn't have happened. I can see we're plowing, plow truck breaks down, we need to get, it's got a line item for that. This one didn't. I have an issue with that. So, I don't understand how it was paid. Who said to pay it?
3 selectmen signed the thing. You refused to sign it. Remember, you wrote on there not to
I
pay
did.
that bill, but 3 selectmen agreed to pay it.
What three?
I don't have it right here. I don't know who the third selectman was. But there were three that signed on it.
And they say who they
All right,
are.
so we'll have a roll call vote on the motion. Steve?
No.
Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Will?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes.
Good, 4-1.
So 4-1. And I may not be involved in the investigation since I'll be out of the country for 2 weeks. So depending how quickly we want to get this taken care of, somebody else on the board would have to pick it up if it's going to be with the anticipation it will be earlier than 2 weeks from now. All right, review of outstanding minutes for 8/26.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes of 8/26. Will?
Yes.
Steve? Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes. All right, vouchers, payroll manifest, accounts payable manifest. Accounts payable for 9/3/24 were $99,040.87, and payroll of $91,146.88, both of which have been signed off by the board. Accounts payable for 9/10/2024, which we have in front of us here, of $70,662.48. A motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? All right, there's no second, so the
Second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion?
So in this case, Fred, I think the reason I didn't second this is because I feel that we need to recognize that some of us are questioning whether there's an expense to the taxpayers that is not proper. And even though this has been paid, and so it's kind of water under the bridge.
Excuse me, Will, this is the one that is not, it doesn't include it.
Actually, yes, it does.
It does include it.
The first one, the 9/3 bill, includes the $30,000 for the truck repairs.
9/3, but this is 9/9.
Yes.
And 9/10.
Right. You've already signed, so is the motion just for 9/10?
Right.
Yes. So it's not in there.
It's not in there, Will.
Oh, I see. All right, I stand corrected, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, so we moved and seconded for payment of the September 9th bill, or actually 10th. Roll call, Will?
Yes.
Yes. Wait, Steve, sorry. And Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes.
If I may, on the signatures, we need signatures on the certification for the culverts on Haynes and Range Road. And we need to have a owner affidavit that you've appointed Kirsch Nordstrom Associates to submit on your behalf state and local permits for Haynes Road and Range Road culvert. So we need one signature, a chairman could do it, for the owner of the roads for those three signatures.
This is to, excuse me, this is to be submitted to DES for review and approval?
Yes, we need certain permits from DES,
Right.
and the engineering company needs our signature on these three to submit them.
Motion for the chairman to sign those three pieces of paper and authorize.
Second.
Moved and seconded, have the chair sign on behalf of the board, those two projects.
Yes, there's 3 documents,
Three
2
documents.
projects.
Any discussion? Will?
Yes.
Yes.
Steve? Cindy?
Yes.
Yes.
Dick? And Gary, yes.
Those projects have fallen behind. We're a little disappointed that the permits weren't submitted earlier because there's a FEMA money involved and the delays are putting our money at risk for the FEMA money to pay for the bulk of the cost on those projects.
We already got some money for them, didn't we?
Yeah, we've gotten the money to pay the engineer.
Well, I thought we had like 84,000 for one and 100 and something.
You have gotten money, yes. A lot of it's gone to the engineer.
If you would have hired Audley, they would have taken care of it all.
One-stop shop sometimes has an advantage.
And you were damn right.
If I may go to the next item, I wrote a proposed transfer station manager job description. This would be for a full-time position. We don't have the money for a full-time position. I'm not quite sure what the board wants to do, but I was asked to prepare one. This is very similar to one you would have seen several months ago that John Harrington put together. I had sent it to Suzanne Steele, I believe her name is, to look at as well, but I haven't heard comments back. But it's there for consideration.
And Suzanne is on the chair of the recycling committee.
Recycling committee, yes. In fact, that's gonna come up later. There's a report that's under new business from the recycling committee and a discussion on clothing recycling under new business. Next item, the 2023 audit is available on the website and in the finance office. If you want to see the 23 audit, it replaced the 22 audit on the finance page on the website, or you could come in and look at a paper copy. Next item is the options for the location of the November election, given we expect a very large turnout. And it appears that the school board will not take action without the board having someone at their meeting and discussing how long the hall would be tied up and everything. But I did ask if the Deerfield Fair would consider it, and I'll let you
Yeah,
talk about
officers and
that.
directors voted unanimously to let the town use the arts and crafts building like we did COVID year for zero cost.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can't hear you, I'm sorry, Dick. What did you say? I didn't hear you.
The board, the
Deerfield Fair.
the board for the fair had voted unanimously to allow the town to use that at no cost.
I would suggest it be appropriate, however, to make a donation for utilities if we do use it. But I would suggest that the board take a vote to use to have the election there so the planning, the publicity, and everything can get out. This is not the election tomorrow, that's all set up at Town Hall. This is for the November presidential election.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, I know the moderator had really was pushing the board to have it in a location other than in the old town hall because of the logistics and being able to work that. So it's very much appreciated with the Fair Association agreeing to allow the town to use that.
Thanks for that.
And did we have a motion to do this?
I think
Do we
Steve
add
made a
the
motion, need a
donation
second.
in there?
If you want to, I'll amend it.
Okay.
What was the
I'll
amendment?
amend my motion to include a donation.
Yes,
And
you seconded.
Yep.
then he seconded,
You
okay.
seconded, okay.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion? All right, call for a roll call. Will?
Well, it was a discussion, but I'll just make a comment as I vote, which is that, I've worked hard to try to maintain voting at the town hall, but I think under these circumstances, we're not prepared for this election at the town hall. So I would vote yes, but I want us to become prepared in the future to have our town hall be able to continue to be our voting place for all elections. So I vote yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes.
The next item, there was a request from a citizen for a crosswalk to be considered from this building to the gravel lot across the way. The Department of Transportation, which controls the road, indicates it's going to be between $40,000 and $50,000 to do that, because you need to do engineering, you need to have a light that will go on and off for it, you need to have ramps going up, and for ADA ramps, so it's not just a matter of paint, it's quite expensive, so I think that's the end of that project because of the cost. We just don't have the money, and that's what I told DOT, that we were not gonna be proceeding because we don't have the money. Furnace work has begun. They estimate 3 weeks, so a month from now, hopefully, we'll be meeting back downstairs. They're in the process of demo and getting them out right now. They've gotten one out, they'll be taking the other one out. They may have to redo the pads. They got all the parts for one, most of the parts for the other, so they'll be reassembling.
So they have to do redo the concrete pads?
They may have to, once they get the two out, they'll
Yeah.
reassess that. I have scheduled budgets for the Board of Selectmen for the added meetings, which are 9/16, 9/30, and 10/7. And plan to have the other meetings that were regularly planned for the 24th and the one after Columbus Day to have for business other than budgets. I know it's quite a lot to get through on some nights, but we did have to put like highway and police on the same night to make it work. The fire chief needed to be moved to a different meeting, but as far as we know, everybody is okay now with the new dates.
Okay.
I would suggest that the main focus on this needs to be changes in the budget rather than line by line in great detail. The transfer station has asked, Russ has asked that we close the transfer station for Deerfield Fair Saturday. Traffic's just horrible, I just think it wouldn't work. So is there a vote by the board to close the transfer station on that Saturday?
So moved.
Second.
Moving seconded to close the transfer station on the Saturday, the Deerfield Fair. Any discussion? Hearing none. Call for a roll call. Will?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes.
So I will ask Steve to put it on the website, and Russ, you'll put something up down there to make people aware as soon as possible.
And send it out on the text service that we have.
Just draw a blank for me.
What's it called?
Yeah, the little text
Yeah.
alerts that come
Ask
out.
Kelly.
Yep, I will.
On
I'm
television.
learning all the time. I like this job. I'm learning constantly.
Hey, and speaking of advance notice, let's be sure that we give plenty of notice to voters about the change in the venue of the voting for November election, because last time we did this at the Arts and Crafts Building, there were some people who said that they went to town hall and it was, simply not open and they didn't know where to go. So let's be a little better this time.
Yep, good point. Okay, personnel action. I request that the board, Craig wants to have Aaron Morrow promoted from part-time to full-time as the Deputy Assistant Parks and Rec Director, and I am asking that the board rehire Kevin Lemieux as Building Inspector at the rate and hours that he was before, not when he had the transfer station, his 32 hours he was originally hired for.
Right.
And he has asked that he receives vacation and sick even though he's part-time, which seems reasonable to give a week of vacation and give some sick time.
Steve?
So we just went through this whole process of hiring a part-time building inspector, and to my knowledge, it's working. And
Yeah, you entered into an intermunicipal agreement with Allenstown for
To
him
share.
to work, I think it's 6 hours a week or 7 hours a week, as opposed to Kevin coming in 32 hours a week. Randy has taken up a lot of time in building inspection work, and we really need her to be freed up so that she can do town report and other things that she does up here for administration.
I really like Kevin, and he did a fantastic job, but he kind of got burnt out and walked away. And I'm just concerned after all that setup, and he wants to come back, what if he decides that, 6 months down the road that he doesn't want to do it?
Cindy?
I thought we brought the new guy in, the guy from Allenstown, to help us out until we could find somebody, because we're still advertising for a building inspector. And Kevin got burnt out because he was asked to do the transfer station as well. I
agree,
I
but-
think he just wants to do, he would be happy doing the building inspection part.
I certainly like the idea of having somebody present here rather than having somebody in Allenstown who may or may not be particularly involved with what's going on in Deerfield.
My understanding is the builder's light, Kevin.
When would he be able to start?
At the end of the month. So I would contact John Harrington about, so what we need to do as far as ending the intermunicipal agreement. And I've already talked to him about that as being a possibility. It's a relatively simple process. We keep the paperwork just in case we had to reinstitute it or do it with a different town even if something happens. But I think at this point, the pluses of having Kevin, his knowledge of the town and the extra hours offset staying with Brian from Allenstown.
I'll make a motion that we go with Kevin Lemieux as a part-time.
Second?
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
So I just want to ask you a question about the hours that Kevin will have compared to the hours that we have currently with Brian from Allenstown. Is it a kind of one-for-one swap?
No, it's far more.
Or 2 for
I think
1.
Brian is doing something like 6 hours a week or 7 hours a week, something like that, and Kevin would do 32.
But that'll free up Randy too.
Right.
Yeah, that will free up Randy. Right now, my understanding is you're paying $600 a week to Brian for, I said, for 6 to 8 hours, or something like that. And Kevin would cost us more, which we budgeted. He'd cost about $1,200. But we'd be getting 32 hours out of it.
Right.
We'd have somebody on site that could answer building questions, code enforcement.
Yeah, I'm led to believe that some of the people are not able to get sufficient hours from the current arrangement with the shared building inspector. Is that what other people have also experienced, that we do need more hours for people to be able to access the building inspector?
That's what I've been told.
I've heard that too.
And I've heard that as well, Will.
Okay, no further question.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Okay, call for the roll call, Will?
Yes?
Steve? Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And Gary, yes.
And I still need
I
a
would make a
motion
motion to
promote Aaron Morrell.
promote Aaron Morrell to full-time Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation.
Second?
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
So you remember we had this agreement that the director was full-time, but the assistant director was part-time, and then we had a payment arrangement about how the funds were allocated to pay those folks. So how is that changing now if we go with a full-time assistant and a full-time director?
Come out of Parks and Recs fund.
Well, we pay half for the assistant directors, correct?
I
Right.
don't know how the split is. I know that all the part-timers come out of the revolving fund, and I don't know how this is budgeted.
I think we pay the director, and then the assistant director, we pay half of their salary.
Right.
And the Park and Rec's revolving fund pays the other half.
That would be quite common. I mean, that's often done that way.
So would we continue to maintain that we pay half of the assistant at the full-time rate, or would we now, because it's full-time, would we have to pick up the entire rate?
If you,
I would include it in my motion that continue.
At half, right.
okay.
Okay, so we're gonna maintain 50% of the full-time salary for the assistant.
Right.
Okay,
I will put that on the sheet before we sign it. Has that been voted?
No, not yet.
No,
Okay.
So we have a motion by Steve and seconded by Dick?
No, I was on it, Kevin.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Cindy, I did.
Okay, by Cindy, seconded by Cindy. Any further discussion? I'll call for roll call. Will?
yes,
Steve?
Yes?
Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes.
I think it came up earlier, but the unfinished letter, we haven't finished the tax letter, but I did produce some drafts on numbers that makes it look like a $3.50 increase, give or take, depending on what happens with revenues for the school, a slight decrease for the town of about 23 cents. That's not set in stone, and it could vary depending upon what state revenues are coming in for both the town and the school. But based on last year's revenues and action at the 24 town and school meeting and the 23 town and school meeting, that's what I believe are the numbers. But I've asked the school to confirm it in that email that I shared. It shows how I reached my calculations. We've got a basically every $800,000 you spend is $1 on the tax rate.
right, so if we had a $3 increase in the mill rate, that would be, and since the average, I believe, is around 750,000 as an assessment for the town of Deerfield average.
It's closer to 800 million.
Okay, but I mean, the average assessment of the average property, I believe, is
Oh,
somewhere
oh,
around
oh.
700,000.
That could be,
Right now.
I don't know what that is.
So anyway, if that were true, that means the $3 obviously is about $2,100, about $2,000 of extra tax on a tax bill for the average taxpayer with the average assessment.
And to make it worse, it will all hit on the December bill, so that would be a $4,000 hit on the December bill that goes out.
Right, that's exactly what I was gonna say, John, is, it looks like the taxpayers will have a $4,000, on average, with the average assessment, would have a $4,000 increase on the first bill, and then back to what they had before on the second bill.
Yeah, and that's all on the school. The town actually is reducing it a little.
Right,
Yeah, I believe
so I
our,
think the minutes of our meeting should just reflect, those kind of estimates. And of course, John, you can dress up those estimates based on actual numbers, but I'm just using back of the envelope estimates here.
Yeah, we can, I just prepared those numbers to have part of the discussion on what the tax letter will be. And I don't know who's gonna actually write the verbiage and everything, but those are what I believe the numbers are.
I'll end up using that information. I believe that the town budget is down, well, between the default budget plus warrant articles, we're down by about 300,000. That's my,
It's in my,
Oh, it is,
my
okay.
email, yeah.
that was my recollection.
Yeah, let me look here. Actually, you're down about 187,000 total because you went up 112,000 in your operating budget. So your warrant articles are down 300,000, but the default budgets went up 112. The default budgets for the school went up 3,045,662. on a default budget, from one default budget to another.
Send them all to private school for less than that.
And the school board is asking for approval before the letter goes out.
They wanted to take a look at it and provide their input as well to the letter. And I don't see any problem with that.
It's just gonna take time to get it out there.
Right. They would be certainly providing their information as to why their budget has gone up
I've sent
significantly.
somebody at the school board,
Sandra?
I sent it to, Kendra, what my numbers are and asked her if those numbers are right
And that was today.
today. Yeah, I mean, she hasn't had a chance to respond yet.
Right.
Right.
She may well not have seen it yet.
Yeah.
Next item is action on the bids for the spreader hangers. The bids came in much higher than the funds that we have available. My recommendation is that since one bid was $173,463 and the low bid was $120,000, that we reject both bids. And ask Ray to put together a proposal on how we might be able to do it less expensively ourselves.
Right. I did talk to Ray, and that's what his thought was, to get back to having the town do it itself.
Yep, he's got some ideas that should save us time, and time is money. That's why these bids were so high, was because you were setting the posts and you had to keep setting one and then coming back, whereas there's a stainless device that you can put into the cement that will allow you to put them all in for the concrete and then just put up all the posts at once, which will save substantial time. You might have to bring somebody in for some of the work, but I've asked him to put together a proposal and bring it to the board. But the first action would be for the board to reject all the bids for the spreader hangers.
So moved.
Second.
That's ridiculous.
It's nice to get an easy motion.
So moved and seconded, the motion probably should include just returning the bid bonds to the two bidders as well.
Yes, one had a check, the other one just had a
Yeah.
bond. We'll tell him he can release it.
Right.
But the one with the check, I told him he could pick it up tomorrow, assuming you agree tonight.
Right. All right, so moved and seconded to reject bids and look to Ray Ellis to come up with a recommendation as to how we should end up proceeding with the construction of the spreader hangar building. Any further discussion?
Can we get
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Will.
Will?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a point, which is, recall that about 2 years ago, we had a discussion of initiating this project and buying the materials. I believe it was $44,000, if my memory serves me right. And there was an estimate of the cost to complete using town labor, I believe, at the time. And I think we should revisit. I'd like to see John maybe pull up the minutes from those meetings. I think there were 2 meetings in which it was discussed, and bring them, to the board to just refresh our memory on what we agreed to in the beginning when we started this project on these spreader hangers. Because I think we're all pretty shocked at these estimates and what we're trying to accomplish in terms of saving the integrity of the spreaders from moisture damage from rain.
And part of that too is to protect the people who are going to be installing the spreaders as well.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
That's
like
right.
like working on monkey bars with what we have currently.
Yeah, right now, the insurance company would not like. Do you have any idea when that was, Will, roughly? I mean, what year?
Well,
Spring, fall?
it was roughly 2 years ago. Cindy, you might have a better memory on that than I
It
do.
was the spring of 22.
Well, we'll have to find it.
Yep,
But
I'll
think
I'll
the
look for
point
it.
I'm trying to make is that just because we've spent $44,000 on materials, I'm not sure that means that we have to continue if the cost is going to be excessive. We should revisit the cost versus the benefit of this entire project and decide whether we proceed at all or not.
we'll plan to put that together and bring it to the board.
All right, so you have a motion, any further discussion? Cindy?
Well, maybe talk to some of our contractors in town. I'm sure they know how to build spreader hangers and can help us out, or we have equipment that's been sitting out in the weather for 2 years now because we've been protecting this spreader hanger material. So,
Time to get the equipment back under cover.
Right.
That's priority.
I will say, Ray has a lot of experience with spreader hangers, so I respect what he has to say when we ask him to put together a proposal, so. I will get back to you. For new business, the town clerk.
We need to take a vote on
Oh,
that
yes,
motion.
right.
Good point, Will.
All right, to call for roll call, Will?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Cindy?
yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes.
Okay. The town clerk recommends the appointment for election officials of Dawn Gorman and Kathleen Perron.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to appoint Don Gorman and Kathleen Curran to position of election officials. Call for roll call, Will?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes.
The recycling committee was supposed to be bringing a report today.
That's you.
Actually, we discussed before that we were going to focus on what the mission of our committee was, and part of that was education. And so Sherry is going to share, one of the things that we really want to talk about is signage at the transfer station and what we can do and leverage from a timing standpoint for signage.
Thank you, Suzanne. Sherry Godlewski, Middle Road. I talked to the NRRA today, which is the Northeast Resource Recovery Association, which we are members of, and they are affiliated with New Hampshire the Beautiful. And New Hampshire the Beautiful is a nonprofit organization that's made up of like the New Hampshire Grocers Association, the New Hampshire Bottling Association, and they all contribute money to New Hampshire the Beautiful, and New Hampshire the Beautiful has a pot of money which they use to allocate to communities. We can apply for grants through New Hampshire the Beautiful. We can ask for signage through New Hampshire the Beautiful. And our committee felt, and in conjunction with the transfer station operators, that we would be very beneficial to have new signs at the transfer station. It would show the transfer station is being looked at by our community, and that the signage would be consistent and up to date, because a lot of the signage now has notes on it about what's changed since the sign was originally made. Every community is allocated 60 points a year to obtain signs. Each sign costs and points between 6 and 8 or 9 points. So we could get a number of signs, and in my conversation this morning with them, I found out that they're designing the signs differently now. They have a new design which is going to involve more pictures and less words. So it will help the transfer station operators point to see the cans, that's what goes in there. So it would be a little easier for the public, and the new sign design should be completed by the end of this month. So through New Hampshire the Beautiful, we have up till the end of October to order signs for this year. Starting November 1st, we could order new signs. We'll get allocated another 60 points. And so what we'd like to do in conjunction with you and in conjunction with our transfer station operators is do a little look around the transfer station and see where we think new signs might be appropriate, and then order those signs. Depending on how much it costs, we may be able to get all new signs at once, or we may get some new signs, and then after November 1st, we can order more new signs. The new design for the signs should be at the end of this month, so that'll give us a month to decide what type of signs we want and where we would put them. They also have a recycled sign that we can get for less points, and what would happen is one side would already be printed, so we just put that against a building or a wall so nobody would see that, and then you could use the clean side of the sign, and those are less points. So we will be judicious in how we choose, what we choose for the various signs, but I asked the NRA today, can we order the signs or do we have to go through the select board? And she said, you can order the signs as a recycling committee, but we should get your approval. And I said, we plan to do that anyway. We wouldn't order anything without the select board's approval. And we aren't gonna do it in a vacuum, we'll do it in conjunction with the transfer station operators, because they're the people who see all the violations, because, you know, people aren't paying attention. This would
Right.
help get people's attention and also help people realize that we are making a move to make our transfer station more efficient.
Did I miss anything?
I think we just want to reiterate that this is not something that we plan on having a cost to the
Right.
town for. This is
Just our
strictly
points.
our points.
So their year it begins in November,
Yes.
so we could get whatever signs we need or can get up until November, and then we can order additional signs.
November 2nd.
Starting November 2nd, yeah, okay.
Yes.
So theoretically, by the end of the year, we'll have all new signage at the transfer station that's consistent. It makes the transfer station look a little nicer, and it has pictures to help people realize where they need to put their recyclables.
Good, excellent.
Awesome. So I guess you have to make
As far
a
as I'm
motion.
concerned, go ahead.
Okay?
You have to make a motion and vote on it?
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Steve made the motion and Cindy seconded it?
Sure.
All right.
So, any further discussion? Thank you, all the work you guys are doing, by the
Sure.
way.
Right.
And we'll keep you posted.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Paul,
Before you leave, go ahead.
roll call.
Oh,
Will?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
And McGarry, yes.
At the last meeting, the board voted to discontinue the Planet Aid contract so that it wouldn't automatically renew. That means the board has to make a decision as to who's going to be doing the clothing recycling there. And my recommendation is that you stay with Planet Aid, that they'll make a short contract, and they provided the insurance certificate to demonstrate they have insurance. I believe you would prefer that they go with apparel. Yes. Planet Aid is a nonprofit, but apparel is a veteran-owned
Local.
company. They appear to both do a similar job in what they totally recycle. Planet Aid indicates that they do recycle all of the clothing that's unfit for resale into shredding and putting it into wherever they put shredded clothing for recycling. So I think they do similar services. So it's really the board's decision as to where we go, but I do believe we need to make a decision. So is Planet Aid gonna come and pick them up? Are we gonna have apparel put theirs in? What does the board want to do?
Make a motion, we go with apparel.
Second.
Moving seconded to go with, its formal name, is it just
Apparel
Apparel?
Impact is the name.
Apparel Impact.
I
John?
believe the owner, I believe not the owner, one of the local managers for Planet Aid is here, and I believe he just indicated he'd like to speak on this as well.
Hey, good evening, my name's Joe and I represent Planet Aid. We have been recycling the clothes here in the town of Deerfield for the past 11 years. I had contacted the town, John Harrington, I believe, to re-up the agreement because what we need to do in order to be a 501c3 charity, we need a signed agreement with an EIN number. I had done that and approached, and then I was told that we were no longer being, or wanted to do the recycling here after 11 years. Apparently there's some misunderstanding here as to what we recycle and what we do not recycle. Everything that goes into our bins, we take with us. We don't leave anything behind. Everything that is recyclable is recycled. Anything that is in trash is trash that is dumped into those bins is trash. Now that would be no different for us or for apparel. So what I've done is put together a few brochures here telling everybody, if I can hand these out to you guys?
Sure.
Okay, what this is it explains everything about Planet Aid. Like I said, we're a 501c3 charity. We've been in business for over 30 years. As far as veteran-owned, we're not veteran-owned, but I would guarantee you that we have just as many, if not more, because of our size, veterans working in our operations. As far as being local, my office is in Hudson, New Hampshire. Everything gets brought right down to Hudson, and then into Massachusetts. We've been doing this with you guys for 11 years, and I was kind of a little shocked and taken back as to why this would suddenly change. Any questions?
Well, I guess turn to the people on the recycling committee, because they had recommendations to go with the other organization. I don't know if you want to have Suzanne have any comments?
I guess I'll say I'm a little taken off guard because I didn't realize that, Joe, you'd be here tonight. And what we learned at the NRRA conference that we attended back in early May, we spoke to the individuals at Apparel Impact and got a lot of information from them. They are a local company. You may be based here, that's great.
We are local, Hudson, New Hampshire.
So I'm not gonna start throwing sticks and stones because that's not how I work. So all I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna reiterate what Joe Witten said when he was here and spoke to all of you last month. So I know that he gave you information, I know I gave you information from him. And I really can't add more to what we've already discussed. I don't think that, the only thing I'll add is I don't think there's a long-term commitment or a long-term contract with Apparel Impact. I think they will work with you as to what you all want to do here in the town.
I believe, what's the length of the contract with?
We haven't had an agreement since 2013 with you guys. That was part of the reason why I was here. We had one, it was a one-year agreement. I had put it down to be a 3-year agreement, and there was a misunderstanding where somebody thought it was 5 years, but it was not. I'll do a year, I'll do whatever you need, but I mean, we've been doing this for 11 years, and the guys from the recycling station are here. Have we had any issues in the past?
Not that I've seen.
Okay. The only issue, to my knowledge, going back 13 years, is occasionally the code to the lock gets changed and the truck can't get in. And it's a simple phone call, we take care of that. 2022, we donated $2.9 million to charities across the United States as well as around the world, being a nonprofit.
And the contract with Apparel Impact would end up being a one-year contract, or?
It's open-ended, but you can get out of it in 30 days.
Okay.
Which would be the same with us.
Any questions, Steve?
I would think that we've had somebody doing it for 11 years without a problem, that maybe we ought to do a little thinking and maybe some of our own personal research and put it off for the next meeting.
Good idea. I support that.
Does that sound all right with the board? Okay,
To withdraw the motion in the second?
yeah.
Okay.
And
We'll get back to you in 2 weeks, or 1 week.
2 weeks, next week is budget.
Yeah, but we could do it too if we wanted to. If it's an actual meeting, we could do it if
Yep,
we
you
decide.
can do, if you're in a meeting, you can take action, you're right.
We'll let you know as soon as we can.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Point of order.
I believe that's all we have. I don't think we have anything for non-public, and that would bring it back to citizens' comment.
I have something to make.
Yes.
Cindy?
Can we make as a board, can we make a full-time position without, like, on the warrant articles?
Yes, as long as you got the money.
Well, we
In a
don't
budget.
have the money for a full-time transfer station manager. And I think we should give the crew some more time. It looks like they're doing a great job. And maybe we need a CDL driver to move things. We can borrow Mr. Kimball for a couple hours every couple weeks. And just let the transfer station employees do what they're doing. I think they're doing a good job.
Yes.
They're doing a very good job, but they don't have enough time to do everything that needs to be done.
Well, if we made one of them, give one of them a little bit more hours to do things, I just don't think we can afford a full-time.
No, I don't think we
person
can
that
afford a full-time either,
Right.
but what we need is a full-time person.
Yeah.
So let's make one of them a full-time person. That's only a few more hours than what they're doing now. And just if we need to move something,
So if we move them into full-time, we move them into benefits
right.
Health and retirement.
and
But
retirement.
what's this full-time person gonna be? They're gonna get health and benefits plus a good pay.
Right, so that's why
So we
that
can't
job
afford that.
description was if you go to a full-time person, that's what I'm recommending you would want for a full-time person.
How many hours does the transfer station people get right now?
How many hours are each of you guys working? I think they're all
32.
here.
How much are they supposed to work?
32 a week.
32.
32.
Okay. What do you wanna do?
And I know Russ puts in a few more hours.
Well,
What-
Been putting in extra.
he shouldn't be putting extra hours in if it's only 32.
Right.
Well, I think he was asked to.
I think he's trying to help, I understand that, but he shouldn't be working more than 32 hours
Right.
if that's all we're paying him for.
I
Right.
think he was asked by one of the supervisors that was taking over up there. Or John, one of them.
Okay, I'm just,
Yeah. I just don't think we
I
can
have no
afford
problem with,
a
we
full-time.
need someone working more hours down there. But if we're not paying them, and if they're only good for 32 hours, we're in between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
Because by, as good-natured as it is, anyone working past that 32 hours is not authorized.
Right.
And we could get into insurance and labor law problems. So if we want to say, go ahead and work 40 hours, we're going to have to pay for it.
Well, that's still half of what you're gonna be looking at, under half if you hire a whole new position. And I don't wanna bring this up, but that's exactly what our road agent does. He's only supposed to work 32 hours. How many hours is he out there working?
How many hours is the dump open?
What is it?
25.
So that gives you 7 additional hours.
Well, it would be, right now, we're doing 32 hours, so it would be 8 additional hours per week for one person. But the open hours is,
Open hours wouldn't change.
no,
Right.
wouldn't change. It'd give us time to do stuff, packaging and whatnot behind the scenes.
I was there Thursday, I was really impressed
Yeah,
how things look.
thank you. We try to do what we can.
We want to have John take a look and see how we could convert that position to full-time and what the impact would end up being on the landfill budget or transfer station budget.
Be very interested to hear any possibility of working that out, yes.
And if I was to do that, would you want me also to work on a job description that envisioned a current employee expanding and becoming more like a working foreman?
I would say so, yeah.
I think that would help us more than having workers and a foreman sitting in an office somewhere or.
I didn't anticipate that the position that John was talking about was going to be somebody sitting in an office someplace. I think
Well,
we're
no,
gonna be
but it's-
working just like the guy in Candy.
Right, and they have 3 full-time people.
Right.
Let's see if we can work out a situation where we can get more hours for the people to work and see how it comes out.
Are you looking for more hours for everyone or just more hours for the person who becomes the manager?
I guess it would probably end up being the next person.
No, just the one person, it wouldn't make, I mean. we
One
need a
person
couple
going
people.
full-time.
Right.
Right.
I will run the numbers. I will have some questions for you, but we can talk later.
Okay. Other business? No other business. All right, citizens' comments. And differs from what we had set up for the initial citizens' comments, in that you have 5 minutes.
I don't need 5 minutes.
Okay.
Stand in the middle, please, Marie.
Sorry.
Under the microphone.
Being an ex-employee of the transfer station, I was working 25 hours a week, and they would periodically give me a few hours extra to work after hours to get stuff done. Each one of them now has 7 hours extra, which is 21 hours more a week than we had. 21 hours a week is a lot of hours to be able to get stuff done.
Right.
If they can't do it, we were doing it with a few extra hours a week.
I'm not saying they can't do it. What
I'm
I'm
just-
saying is we don't need to hire a full-time person.
I don't think you need anybody more than 32 hours a week, because with the 3 of them, that's 21 hours extra a week to do stuff.
Can you just give us your name?
Marie Bolster, Courier
you.
Road.
Thanks, Marie.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Katie, you had your hand up?
I'm telling you again, you've got to go through your policy book, and this is my 4th time that you haven't looked at it. That says $1,500 the department head can spend. Anything over that, they've got to come for approval. You've got to go out to bid for projects over 3,000. Or get 3 proposals. At 10,000, you've got to get bids. Somehow you've let that all fall away, and things have been loosey-goosey with this group for a few years now. Read your policies and follow them, or change them, but do what you say you're gonna do. The ARPA funds, we had over 100 people downstairs, and they wanted you to spend the money on the roads. So far, the roads haven't got the attention, and we've given money here, there. We bought the speeding sign, which I haven't seen on the road for quite a while. I'd like to know why you're violating your policies you voted. And then, tonight, I didn't hear you vote to accept the money to do what the girls are telling you they're doing. I think it's great. But no monies are supposed to be spent out of the town. You accept a grant, you vote to spend the monies. That's policy, that's law in the state of New Hampshire. You need to fix this. Take and get the money, accept it, and then vote to spend it based on what they recommend or what other groups recommend. We've had some fantastic work by volunteers, but you need to get your policies in order.
I believe, to follow up on that, they were allowed points. Each town is allowed points, so there's no money involved. We're allowed 60 points.
I believe that there is a procedure for accepting gifts, which is what that would be considered, a donation, as it were, or something. It's not, there's 2 statutes, one for money and one for personal property.
I know.
So it'd be the second one, but your point's well taken. They should take that vote at some point, but until they know what's being accepted, it's kind of hard to take the vote.
Well, if the girls are gonna get money to buy signs,
There's no
No,
money.
there's no money, there's no money,
Points.
it's points.
The points.
So that's why it's under the gift statute, and they need to know what the gift is before they can vote on it.
I get to get hearing aids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Suzanne Steele?
He's been waiting over there.
Oh,
Oh, Russ? Go ahead, Russ.
Sue, you got something to say?
Nope.
All set, thank you. Just got something for you.
What do you got, Russ?
That's a list of support that I got from this next one for.
Will. He needs a QR code.
That's just a support page that I got from people that are coming into the transfer station, thinking we're doing a good job. On the last page, is what we bring in from August for what materials came in. I do run the loader, the roll-off truck when we have it. I do all emailing for the dumpsters, help the people with where things need to go and answer any questions. I've been to Candia, I've checked out their facilities. I like it. We're not there yet. I work with Peter and Matt Fisher to do burn permits. It's quite a process. It's getting easier, but every 2 weeks I have to do that. I've been a plant manager at Stratum Tire for over 30 years. I think I can manage a transfer station. I did pass my operator's test, and I'll have a copy of that. We recycle as much as we can, and we're working on trying to do more. Transfer station does seem to be running smooth. We don't want to start it over, mess it up again. I have been working with Suzanne Steele with the recycle committee, and she's been helping get ideas and information. I do not have a CDL license, but if we do have CDL operators in the highway department, as Cindy said earlier, if we need it. And I give you a list of over 100 people there that support me. Is there anybody else here support me? Raise your hand, please. We got a few more people.
I don't think there's enough questions.
And that's about it.
Russell,
Thank you.
I'd like to say that both you and Steve and Missy are doing an absolutely fantastic job with what you have to work with.
Thank you. I heard that.
thank you, Russell.
Just a question.
Please come up to the mic, state your name, please.
Beverly Dunn. My question is, these guys are 32 hours.
She said it.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Beverly done.
Okay, thank you.
They're 32 hours, and you could add 8 hours if needed to their scheduling, which to me seems a lot less than hiring another person for 40 hours and offering them all the benefits. Financially, this is your choice, a good choice, okay? A financially smart choice opposed to paying for a truck. So I'm just, I think if you do the numbers, this is your choice.
Anybody else?
Matt Burke, 147 Middle Road. I'd like to just change the subject here a little bit. What happened to all the handicap spots out here?
Police.
There's one there that's used by a town employee, and there's one up here at the top. That's it. So anybody elderly, instead of being able to walk in at the floor level, no, they have to go down the hill.
Yeah.
Is that right? 2 handicap spots in this whole place?
Good point.
Is there a ratio to that?
There should be.
Yes, there is, and the issue would become, the handicap spot should be where they come in at the town, at that level, because this level they come in, they can't go anywhere. That means that this isn't
Since
valid.
when? I used to go in through there to go to the town clerk's office.
No, if they're handicapped.
If they're handicapped, you've got the stairs, and so a handicap.
There's no stairs there to get to.
Yes, there is.
Is there is, to get to the town clerk?
Yeah.
Yes.
Two sets of
Down and
stairs.
up.
Yeah, go down and up.
Well, the
Down and
ones up have a ramp, I mean, has a lift, but that's why the handicap spot should be at the location where you can come in.
And you expect somebody to push a wheelchair all the way back up that hill? If they're wheelchair. If you have to get to the town clerk's office, right?
No, this,
You can come in from the outside.
yes,
Outside is no ramp.
you can come in from the outside with no ramp right at the level the town clerk's at.
I get that. You see the hill you have to take to get up to the level here?
To get up to here, yeah, but not there.
On here, because there is a handicap parking spot out
Right
here.
there.
Right,
by
one
the-
right out front. Is that what we're talking, right out front?
Out front.
Out front. One out front.
Right.
And a pathway on that level, all the way down to the town.
Correct, downhill, correct. Downhill to get to the town clerk's office, outside.
No stairs.
It's supposed to be a 1% grade.
Can we just find out what the ratio to the building should be, and then we can visit it?
I have people
I
calling me,
believe when we painted the lines, we did.
We did.
Correct.
That should be looked into.
all right, my second question, back to the roll-off truck. So who originally agreed that we should purchase this? Was there a vote? There was a vote. You all voted yes? Is that true?
Recall.
Back when it was
Yes.
$29,000, they did.
Yeah, they voted 49,000, I remember the minutes.
Right.
Yeah, but it was before that, you weren't around.
Yeah, well, I wasn't around for most of this. I did look back at the minutes and I saw where they voted the 49,000.
They did.
All I can say is, your spending, it's pretty shameless. You all should be ashamed of yourselves for this. You're spending our money, our taxpayers' money, on stuff you have no business buying. You don't even know what you're looking at. Oh, it's pretty, let's buy it. Oh, it needs another 30 grand worth of work. Let's just pay for it. Good job, guys.
That's okay, they raised our taxes.
They'll just fix it.
To be quite clear, it wasn't the town side that's raising the taxes.
To be quite clear, I bet next year it does, with the way this spending's going.
Well, the spending would require approval by town at town meeting.
Then how'd this dumpster truck
Right.
get bought?
They bought it with the ARPA money,
Oh, so no town meeting, no approval. Just spend the money.
but that's not out of your property taxes. That's out of your income tax. The federal government's the one who's taxing you
In
for
which
that
most of the
one.
town voted that we're gonna use that money to fix the roads.
No, the town, my understanding is it was never a town meeting vote, there was an opinion taken at a meeting in which that
Correct,
was
okay.
the opinion.
Right.
Yeah, so, once again, you guys don't listen.
Okay, next,
Am I 5 minutes up?
you got 40 seconds, 30 seconds left.
That's all right, I'll pass.
All right. 5 minutes, and Mr. Burke passes. Next.
Robert Prieto, 112 South Road. I just wanted to ask, since we're meeting up here, I understand that there's the boiler, the new boiler installed downstairs. By having the meeting up here, it prevents the people in town from being able to see the recordings of meetings, right? So I'm asking if the board is going to issue a detailed minutes for the meetings that are held up here so that the town can see that.
Meeting is being
Intention
filmed.
Tomorrow,
It is?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
this meeting is being recorded, it's not going out live, but tomorrow it's supposed to be on our website.
Then my question is answered. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Done.
Hate to beat a dead horse, but this truck is a very important thing. We know that the extra money is going out from the school budget, basically, it's not coming out of the town. But again, it's $30,000 that we're spending on this truck to get it fixed. And I just got done hearing that our taxes are going up $4,000 at the end of the year. So that's one of the reasons I don't feel we should be paying this $30,000. And I also sat back there and I listened that they wanted you, Mr. Chairman, to head an investigation on this. I don't know I know most of you guys, and I know most of the people in here, and if we do something wrong, we man up to it, we woman up to it, whatever you want to call it, but we own our mistakes. We own what we do. So there shouldn't be an investigation. Whoever did it, have the guts to stand up and say, hey, I did this. Whether it be a man or a woman, just stand up and say you did it. That's the biggest thing. And if you're laughing at me, you're an ignorant man, okay? Because it's not how you conduct business. Right? So that's simple. I watch you time and time again, and I'm sorry I'm directing it to him, but I watch his actions, his facial expressions. He is not a leader by any shape or form. So, you brought that one on yourself, sir.
Mr. Cross.
Right here.
Ed Cross, Thurston Pond Road. I'm going to go back to the transfer station in Russell. From a business owner's perspective, if we can add an element of management for 8 hours a week additional to somebody who we already know, somebody already has a track record, he's already there working, we know, the whole team works really hard. The transfer station has improved tremendously. I would love to see it continue to improve. And it's going to take man hours and manpower to do that. So for the extra cost of 8 hours plus added benefits, I think that we should be able to put together a job description specifically for him to have some management responsibilities so that you can hold him accountable, so that we can make sure that the transfer station is being managed by somebody, instead of having what we tried to do before, which was have our building inspector try to step in and be in management to the point where we burnt him out and we chased him away.
Yep.
And we're fortunate that he might be willing to come back, because you can't find building inspectors around here.
That's right.
So we're very thankful that he's even willing to step back. So let's learn from that, and let's try to take advantage of moving forward for a change. And moving forward is going to be getting somebody that we can hold accountable in a management position for what I would consider a very tiny amount. You don't even have to spend the $15,000 or $20,000 of training that's necessary when you're bringing in a new employee. He's trained. So I think you should consider that in all your conversations. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Anybody else? Suzanne Steele?
Suzanne Steele, 8 Harvey Road. Just to go back on the apparel impact, thank you, Steve, for suggesting that you take your due diligence as a board to do some looking. I just used my friend Mr. Google and was reminded of something that Joe Witten had mentioned to me. Something that they are doing is they have a comic book that they do, that they give to schools to help teach children the importance of recycling. And that's how they're partnering with schools as well. So they're thinking outside the box to make a difference, starting at the young ages and going forward through. So I'll let you do due diligence, and if you need some help, I can tell you about Mr. Google.
Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yep, Earl Rhodes, Church Street. I hear a lot of good things here this evening in terms of drawing a line under what we've been doing. Yep. I like what Mr. Cross said about looking forward, being positive, being constructive.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Yeah.
They can't hear you.
I'm not talking loud enough?
No.
No.
Somebody else is
Turn
talking.
the volume up, Harold.
So, good to make a fresh start. I think one of the things that's important here, there's been a lot of anger this past week about the truck. We've seen it, we've heard it. I would not do an internal investigation, quite frankly. I'd have somebody away from town do it. You don't have your fingerprints on it. It's objective, and there's no question of who did what to whom, which is part of what's going on here. There's a doubt about the integrity of what's going on. So take it out of town. Have somebody else do the investigation. Look at the results. You're away for 2 weeks. You'll have the results back after 2 weeks, and let it sort itself out, however it works. But having an independent person look at that, I think, will help your credibility and the town's confidence. That's it.
Anybody else? Mr. Katie, you already had time. Anybody else?
Any chance of seeing that repair bill?
Come forward. Give your name and address.
Steve Murphy, 22 Mountain View Road. I can't understand how the truck was driven around the yard for 2 weeks. It was looked at and bought, and then all of a sudden it's got $30,000 worth of repairs. I mean, I've been a mechanic most of my life. Repair an automobile, after you look at it, you got a good idea what's wrong with it.
Are you finished?
What is your friend?
It's got 4 minutes.
Anybody?
This was all found after it was sent down for the inspection?
What's the question? That's the work they did to get it inspected.
To get it inspected.
Yes.
So they did repairs before they inspected it.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't pass, it wouldn't pass inspection until those
So
things were
somebody
done.
authorized the repairs.
Correct. Well, that's what is unclear.
Well, that's what I've been confused about.
Are you all finished?
Yeah, I guess, it basically answered my question.
Steve, I thought you'd have a good question on that.
I did.
Why would they bring it to an international deal when it's a Peterbilt?
Well, basically, the seal should have been seen with leaking before it even got sent anywhere. Mechanical problem should have been looked at while it was in the yard, or even before it was bought. And it got sent down to get a state inspection. They inspected it, found all these repairs needed to be done for it to pass. Am I correct?
Right.
Yes.
Right? And somebody authorized the repairs.
That's what's unclear to me.
Well, according to this, these are the repairs that have been made.
Right, those
Right?
repairs have been
They've
made.
been made, not the needs.
They're made, they're paid for.
They've been made.
The truck's ready to come back.
So we can't get the truck back until you people send them a check with the 30 grand.
It's already gone.
Oh,
It's already paid.
I'm totally in the dark on this, because, so are we. Yeah, well, now you know how I feel.
Who buys a vehicle without getting it inspected
All right,
first?
that's enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to conduct a meeting, and if you want to make your citizens' comments, fine, but anybody else?
Yep, Robin Blake, Lakes Hill Road. Why was the truck inspected when it was supposed to be a yard truck? Why did it need an inspection at all? It was purchased to be a yard truck so that the dumpsters weren't being all beat up.
Mm-hmm.
So why was it even sent in for an inspection in the first place?
There was
Who made that
discussion
decision?
by the board to have it inspected. I can remember that.
Yeah, it's in the minutes.
Okay, then who gave them consent to put $30,000 into it? Because somebody.
That's what the investigation is supposed to uncover.
Right, but it shouldn't be by this board. It should be private.
That's right.
Because it's somebody on this board that signed for it
No, it isn't.
or gave the okay verbally.
No, it isn't.
Guarantee it wasn't the road agent.
No, it wasn't him either.
So then you know who did it.
Yes, I
Somebody
do.
needs to man up.
Right.
Act like a man. Somebody's
Someone
gotta,
dropped it off at Liberty.
you're
And
saying a
as
town
with,
employee.
and as with every other vehicle that is dropped off at Liberty, they fix it.
Without asking questions. No, it doesn't work.
So how do you know that it doesn't work that way?
Because when you bring something in, they're not going to put $30,000 worth of repairs into a vehicle without knowing they're going to get that check at the
Without
end.
authorization.
Without authorization.
They need to know they're going to get that money at the end. No good company would run otherwise.
That is the long-term relationship between the town
No.
of Deerfield
No.
and Liberty.
No.
Okay,
I'm dying to find out who did this.
Good.
I really am.
because it won't be me.
Kathy?
Just real fast, I just want to say, I know this is really hard on everybody, so just to say quickly, Kathy Shiga, that, you know, I know you all have really good intentions, you all wanted that truck to be transfer station so it could work and do wonderful things at the transfer station. But I was at the meeting whenever, I remember, Steve, you did say it's like carte blanche, that whenever they send all your vehicles to this Lambert, they just automatically repair. And I remember it wasn't a negative, it's a positive. You're just assuming that whenever you bring your trucks and all your vehicles down there, they are just gonna repair. But it sounded to me at that point that it sounded like that they don't even need authorization. And that's what kind of got me. And I don't know where's that communication got screwed up. But that's what it sounded like to me at that meeting, that it's, you know, they know that it's Deerfield truck, all of them, and they're just gonna do what they wanna do, because it's almost like a carte blanche. But I don't know what exactly you say to them, or what kind of policy you have with them, but that's what that meeting sounded like to me. And I go to the meetings, and I
I've
hear.
never had any dealings with them.
I'm not saying personal.
Until this time, and that this is what I found out. Deerfield brings in a vehicle, they fix it, you
Yeah.
pay the bill.
And like, there's nobody talking between, like, it's assumed, that's what I got out of that meeting, that it's assumed. That's not good for our town, for our
Well, it's the first I've
taxpayers.
found out about it.
Okay, that's honest, yeah, thank you.
All right, next.
I'll be quick. Susan Sykes, 13 Full Road. I was here for the meeting when the truck was authorized to be purchased. It was authorized to be purchased as a yard truck. When was the vote taken to have it inspected?
It wasn't.
So how did we get from a yard truck to an on-the-road truck and a $30,000 bill? That's what I'm hoping your investigation figures out.
Tom Dillon, Haynes Road, and I've watched too many Wile E. Coyote cartoons to stand under that microphone. But I
I don't
apologize.
see any anvil up there.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm tempted to step under it just to see if it happens. My attention was diverted for a couple of minutes during the meeting. Did you discuss the school board wanting to have approval of your tax letter?
They were gonna provide comments or input into the letter.
Okay, yeah, the way it was written on here, it sounded like they wanted to approve what you said. My suggestion to you is you counter by asking them why they're not sending a letter out explaining why their budget has expanded so much.
Well
Well, we're the
said.
ones that collect the taxes, so
Yep.
that's why it falls on us.
Yep, no, I thank you guys for sending the letter. I'd just like to know why they don't.
Gary Sanborn, Middle Road. I've bought trucks at Liberty, brand new trucks and used trucks. I've had trucks worked on at Liberty. I own several trucks internationals. You've all seen my junk at the farm. Not once have I dropped the truck off and they just put $10,000 or $15,000 into the truck. I've been there for many, many years. I get a phone call, Mr. Sanborn, you need $10,000. What do you want to do? What do I need to make it legal? What do I need to make it inspectable? Okay, we'll fix what we have to fix, or fix the whole entire thing. Not once have they just done $30,000 on one of my trucks, and I said, okay, I'll pay the bill. Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. You always get a phone call every single time the manager calls you. You need this, this, and this. Okay, I can't fix it. I'll bring it home on a tow truck. All right, go ahead and fix it. Not once do they fix it without authorization from somebody that's authorized from the town, the business, or involved in the ownership.
That has to be cleared up.
Okay, you already had your turn.
I didn't use
Anybody
my
else?
5 minutes.
7.
I just have a comment.
Anybody else? Motion to adjourn?
Why are the
So
police
moved.
taking all the parking on the
there a
side and
second?
not where they used to be?
Moved, seconded, all in favor? Oh, we have to do roll call. Will?
Handicap, one here, one there, I can't even get them.
Steve?
You know my 40 seconds.
Yes.
And Gary, we stand adjourned.
Well, I'll write it on the web.
Get a drop call.
What do you think, Jerry?
They're not handicapped, so they can walk through.
I can send us first.
No confidence.
Maybe all those places where all their cars that we need.
Go to that Fred overseas.
Hey, Ronnie. Hey, I need a jump. That's all right.
Right, see if they got us in now.
I'll probably help you out. I got the boys right here.
Dump my truck in order to come here.
Talk to Gary, see if he's willing.
That's why I got here. I came in to sign that slip. It already been signed by city attorney. And he told me straight up, he said, the money's already been gone. Where'd it come from? He said, you don't have to quit our.
You're gonna be charged data rates, mister. Data rates may apply.
So Fred, everybody's left. Who we got tomorrow working?
Oh, no, that's not me. That's the homeowner building his own.
Linda. I'll be there for.
Those houses.
I'll be there open.
I'll be there when we